Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we're having a look at yet another wonderful mod, this time in the form of Prakasa Aeroworks, which is being made by forum user Balto the Wolf Dog, and what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a whole series of new spaceplane parts that's really geared towards filling what the creator of the mod sees as the void between the Mark II and the Mark III systems, and it does so by adding in a whole slew of lovely new command pods, some engines, aerodynamic parts, and even a lovely new passenger compartment, all of which I have fallen in love with. So let's jump right on into the spaceplane hangar and have a look at what's currently in this mod. Now I'm going to say right off the bat here, this is still very much an in-development mod, as at the moment it is currently version 0.4 as of the time of making this video. So there's still a long way to go for this mod. They have a lot of fun future plans for more parts, more cockpits, more aerodynamic parts, etc. Even maybe some custom wings, things like that, which I hope they make. I think it'd be quite cool. But for now, it has just a handful of parts, I believe 14, I may be off by one or two, but let's start here with, as we usually do, command pods, and the currently 7, yes that's right, 7 lovely new command pods geared towards spaceplanes. So let's grab ourselves a Mark II cockpit for size comparison's sake, and also to really show off the difference in the styling between what we have in stock and what this mod is trying to bring in, which, another thing I'm going to point out on the styling for this mod, the mod maker is definitely going for a stock-ish sort of look to things, but with far more of a futuristic vibe to them. And I'm really liking it because it still does have that stock sort of base to it, but it definitely has more of that futuristic look going for it, which, you know, maybe you like that. Personally, I prefer more stock, but overall, I love these parts. So let's start with the Asthma Cockpit first, which is the only 1.25 meter cockpit that we have in this particular mod, and as you can see, does share some good things with the stock, with the black around the windows, the blue windows, etc., but has a more rounded, of course, look to things, as well. It is a 1.25 meter command pod, and kind of reminds me of a snakehead a little bit. I like it though. I like it a lot. And yes, it is a lovely little command pod. It holds a crew of 3 total, 1 minimum, of course, a reaction wheel with 15 torque, the standard crew report, and a decent-sized battery at 500, and a pretty impressive internal view. I think this one's actually one of my favorite internal views, because it's just nice and compact in there. It's pretty cool. Which I should mention, again, remember, 7 command pods. All 7 of them have internal views. That's wonderful, and how often does that happen with early mods? Usually we're stuck with a default sort of placeholder for the time being, but no, these all have custom ones, which we'll look at in a little bit. So that is the Asthma again. Now we have a larger version of it, which is the Asthma Cockpit S2, which, yeah, seriously, just is a larger version of it, as you can see here. That holds, of course, more crew, with 7 being its total, minimum of 1, a much bigger reaction wheel with a torque of 55, and a much larger battery at 3000. But overall, a very cool looking thing. As you can tell, it is of the 2.5 meter size variety, so you're going to make a pretty big space plane with this thing, and it's worth it. It's pretty lovely. Now, the next one we have in line here is the Naga. I'm gonna apologize right here. Now, a couple of these have names that I have no idea how to pronounce. So, yes, the Naga cockpit, which has a crew capacity of 6, has a, again, 55 torque reaction wheel. This one does have an air intake built in, as I'll show you in a minute, looks quite nice, an electric charge of 500, and a monopropellant tank of 300, and this one a much more sleek, sort of atmospheric looking cockpit to it, made to fly around inside of a planet. And look at that beautiful air intake built into the bottom. Very lovely design to this thing. It is very cool, and again, quite a nice custom interior to it. And overall, just a lovely little command pod with a pretty decent crew capacity of 6. Now the next one we have is a big one, a very big one. This is the Prakasa Cockpit, and this actually fits in with the Mark III spaceplane system, so you can fit your shuttle parts here on the back, as you can see, and it's gigantic. Very, very gigantic. And with a crew capacity to match of holding 10 Kerbals inside, has a massive reaction wheel at a torque of 75, and has 5,000 electric charge capacity. This thing is beautiful and ginormous and kind of reminds me of a duck. Oh, I love it though. It is pretty cool. And again, a very awesome internal view, which we'll look at momentarily. Now, the next one we have is actually, I think, my favorite, just because I really love the unique shape to it, and it's the Cowpens Cockpit. If we load this one around there, I just don't know why, but something about this profile shape I really, really love. It reminds me of a shuttle section from a sci-fi movie, and it's just very cool. Plus, you got all these lovely windows all over the thing, which gives you a whole lot of visibility. Very nice. Holds a crew of 4, reaction wheel of 55 torque, and 500 electric charge, so pretty similar to the other cockpits we've had in here so far, but just that beautiful, unique look to it. There's just something about it. I really, really like it. Now, the next one we have in line is the Prakasa Cockpit. Oh boy, those pronunciations. Oh yeah. And this one, again, holds a crew of 4, reaction wheel of 55 torque. Again, it has an air intake, and the crew report, 500 electric charge and 300 monopropellant. And this one, look at that beautiful air intake on that thing. And I don't know what it reminds me of, but it reminds me of something. And I can't put my finger on it, but it definitely reminds me of something. But yes, a very, very cool design to this thing. I love just the giant single pane of glass of the cockpit right there. Very, very nice indeed. And then the final cockpit we have is the Hodduk Cockpit, which again holds a crew of 4, has a 55 torque reaction wheel, has 720 liquid fuel, 300 monopropellant, and 880 oxidizers. So this one's going to carry a bit more resources, good for if you're putting this on the end of a rocket, but overall quite cool. I do indeed like this thing, and again, very well done on the modeling and the texturing. Very, very nice indeed. Now, the next section we're going to have to take a look at is the engines. Currently, nothing in the fuel tank area. Hopefully, we'll get some custom tanks in the future. But for right now, we do have 2 lovely new engines. We have the PAPD Chikna Scram engine, which is a lovely 1.25 meter size engine. Very, very cool looking. Again, very good on the modeling, very good on the texturing, and just overall, I really love the design to this. I mean, you get this little sort of slope design right here. Let's kind of angle it that way. There you go. You can see it a lot better there. Very, very cool. Very nice engine. And of course, is a true scramjet engine. So you're going to have to go fast before this thing really helps you go even faster. And overall, very, very cool. Max thrust of 526 kilonewtons at Mach 3.2. Stationary thrust of 260 kilonewtons. Engine ISP of 4,000 atmospheric and 4,000 vacuum. And will consume 1.326 liquid fuel per second, and needs an air intake of 10.6 per second. So it's gonna need a lot to get going, but once it does, it will get you going even quicker. And then the next engine we have here is another scramjet, but this one you don't need to be going so fast. I believe it's referred to in this as a hybrid scramjet, and it, let's see here, has a pretty good thrust of 1,416 kilonewtons max thrust at 3.2 Mach, stationary thrust of 700 kilonewtons, engine ISP of 4,000 vacuum and atmospheric, will consume a heck of a lot more fuel at 3.569 liquid fuel per second, and 14.276 air intake. And that's when it's going fast at Mach 3.2. But it also has another engine rating here for at Mach 1.5. So you can actually use this engine to sort of take off from the runway. It may take you a little bit longer, but it'll be good enough to get you off the ground, and then as you get faster, it becomes faster, which is quite cool. And its max thrust here is 655 kilonewtons for the slower speed, both for stationary and max thrust, and has an engine ISP of 12,600 for both atmospheric and vacuum. And it really sips fuel quite a lot better than at the higher speed at 1.052 liquid fuel per second, but a lot more air intake. It needs 73.646 air intake per second, which is a lot. Now, both of these engines I didn't mention on the other one, but they both do have gimbaling, so you can get a little bit of control out of them, and of course the standard alternator. All well and good. Now, we also have a part in aerodynamics here, which is a Prakasa Aerodynamic engine housing. So if you don't want to use one of those two engines and you want to use one of your own, you can pop it inside of this thing here, so it matches up and looks quite nice with the rest of your engine system and your Prakasa cockpit up here. All well and good, and of course has some liquid fuel at 720 and oxidizer at 880. Overall, quite a lovely little thing. And then finally, in the utilities tab, we have the last bit of our parts here, which is so big it doesn't fit inside its button here, and that is the Prakasa 2.5 meter crew cabin. And this thing is glorious. It will fit 10 additional Kerbals inside your ship with a crew report, 720 liquid fuel, 880 oxidizer, which seems to be favorite numbers for the liquid fuel and oxidizer in this mod. That's the third part now that I just realized has that exact numbers, but hey, it works. And it has a very lovely internal view in here for all 10 Kerbals, very nice. So let's go and load up a quick little crappy ship I made earlier to take a look at all the different cockpits that we have. And oh boy, we're actually going to have to mess with this, aren't we, so that we have people in all of them. Oh boy, hold on. Let's just start throwing some people around. Okay, we got you in there. Bob, go over here. Bill, over here. I'm going to need more people down this way. You there. You there. Oh boy, I probably should have just kept this on the runway already. But oh well, what are you gonna do? I didn't even think about that until it was too late. Oh god, no, go here. Excellent. Excellent. Now I'm putting in at least 2 in each of them because a lot of these cockpits have both a sort of navigation section to them as well as a crew section. Oh my god, why won't you go down here? There we go, excellent. So like on my favorite cockpit here, you have space for 2 pilots up in the front and 2 people in the back sort of living quarters. So a lot of these have that sort of situation. That's why I'm throwing in people up at the front and the back so that we should get a view of multiple angles. And let's go launch this thing to the runway and oh boy, see the monstrosity that is this lovely little ship. With no engines, no wheels, no support. It's probably going to tip over. But thankfully, there's enough things that it shouldn't really matter. Oh yeah, there it goes tipping. Alright, so let's start with these IVAs. And the first one we'll be running into is the Cowpen here. Which, if we go into this IVA, is a very lovely internal view. Again, very cool with all the different windows. You get a lot of good visibility, which is one of the reasons I like it. Now, one of the things I should mention, it isn't required, but as you can see here, we actually do have raster prop monitor installed for these screens in the cockpit. So you don't need raster prop monitor installed, but if you don't, these are just going to kind of be blank slates in here. You'll still have all of this instrumentation, but no lovely glass cockpit screens. Now, the next one is the back area of the Cowpen here, and you can see here we have a lovely little living quarters. We got a nice bunk bed, a good little couch, and apparently snakes and snacks. Don't get them confused, guys. Yes, this is the back end of it. As you can see, not exactly as refined as the exterior in forms of the texturing, and you can see over there some pop-in on the ground, but overall still a very cool design for a mod that is still a work in progress. Now the next cockpit, oh god, I don't remember which one this one is. It's a fun one. Okay, actually, let's get out. That should be this one here. So the Hodduk Naga. Alright, back into the IVA for that one. And a very, very cool design. I love the elongated front to this. Very, very nice. Mainly a glass cockpit here. We got good angles of viewing and other fun screens up here. And then if I go to the next in the back, we've got like these little cool science areas back here, so you have more controls, more screens that you can be looking at, which is very cool. It's like a little mini mission control back here. Very nice indeed. Now the next ship is... oh god, I need to remember these things, but I'm not. That should be this one, I believe. The... Niriksha? Oh god. Yeah, that looks about right. But another good, fun cockpit in here. I like that there's this cool telescope up at the front, so you got like a nice little observatory area. Very, very nice indeed. And then if we go to the back, we've got this lovely little back section here, which has no doors, so I don't know how you're getting in and out of this place. We got a lovely little bed back there with snacks and a very long desk, and apparently some paintings of planes and islands. Very cool. Now the next cockpit is one of these smaller ones in here, a much smaller cockpit, less of the glass cockpit stuff going on in here, but very, very cool indeed. We got another fun little middle section that if we could walk around, you could go up into the front. Very nice. And then the rear section for this is just another sort of back command center. I don't know, maybe you could call it a navigation console or something. Very cool indeed. Then we're on one of the larger ships. Oh boy, yeah, this is a big one. This is a very big one. This end towards space. I love that right there. Very good. Again, you can see up in the front we have another telescope inside this particular one. And then up in the front we have another fun system where we can see all these different bits and bobs. Actually, I guess the other seat was the pilot seat, and this is like an engineering seat or something. Very, very cool indeed. Now the next one we have is, yes, this is a small 1.25 meter one, far more like a sort of fighter plane or something going on. We got the very cool HUD, which is always cool, the cool glass cockpit things, and then the seat in the back is just, you know, two little people on either side for like navigation or whatnot. And again, we got the cool HUD going on. Very nice indeed. And then I believe this should be the last one. It's another one of the sort of smaller ones. As you can see, we've got the nice two sections up front, lovely HUD, and in the back we have this what looks like an officer's lounge sort of a thing. Very, very cool. All these lovely couches, we have good computers, etc. Very, very nice. And then in the back is some rooms. Oh yes, this was the large one. This is the one that fits in with the Mark III pods, or the Mark III shuttle system. So we've got these little rooms down here as well. This is the one that holds 10 Kerbals inside of it. Very, very nice. And then we are back to the start. Excellent. So maybe not the most informative thing as to which one was which, because it's kind of difficult to remember as we're going through them, but you get a good sense of what these cockpits look like internally. All very, very cool. Now let's actually go back to the spaceplane hangar and load up a plane that I made real quick to give you an idea of what potentially you could make down the road with this thing. Oh god, what did I call it? Ah yes, just Prakasa there, lovely. And this monstrosity... Oh god, I made this in like 5 minutes before starting this episode, so I have no idea if it's gonna fly. I have no idea if it'll even make it down the runway without falling apart, but we've got that lovely Cowpens cockpit that I really love up front. We then have the crew cabin back here, so I can actually show it off to you guys so you can see the internals for that. And we have both of the engines going on for this thing, so we should get off the ground quite well. I'm actually going to put the smaller scramjets onto another action group because they probably will flame out on takeoff. Oh boy, okay, let's see if this thing actually flies. Oh, we should probably also fill it with people. And fill. There we are, lovely. Much easier than the previous ship. Okay, and let's take this thing out and hope it makes it down the runway in one piece. Oh boy. Oh boy, it's going to explode. Oh, come on, land. Oh, that moved a lot more than I'd hoped. Oh, God. Okay, so let's take another look at the internal view. Again, this is the Kaplan one, so you got a good little nice cockpit here with all the good glass, so good visibility. I'm saying good far too often in that sentence. Another lovely one here. Oh, actually, what does this panel say? I didn't look at this earlier. Thank you for flying Kalapana. Avoid flight into known... Known what? What does that say? I can't tell what that last one says. It's a little bit low res. And thou shalt count to 3. Okay. Alright, well now to the next area back here. So we got the little back with the couch and the snakes. Very good. Other seat on the couch. And then in the back crew cabin area, each personnel has their own lovely little seat with a nice little dinner tray. You got some nice entertainment screens there, and if we cycle through, because they're all basically the same, till we get to back here, you can see in the middle, even though no Kerbals use it, we have a lovely couch right there and another telescope for some nice observation. So you can imagine this being quite cool even for a space station or something like that. You can make a little nice observation deck with it. You can see the couch on the other side there, and the remaining personnel in the back. Lovely, good time. So now let's see if this thing actually flies. Oh god, I have a feeling it's not. But, I mean, what the heck. Let's give it a try. Well, it's moving at least. That's a good thing. Okay, so this is an idea of what you could potentially make with this thing, but if you are a far better shipbuilder than me, you could probably make something far more interesting with all these cool parts, especially the cool cockpits like the Cowpen one. Actually, we're getting up to speed quite nicely with this engine. Oh man, I actually think we could probably take off right now. We can. Holy crap, those wings are also moving far more than I think they should be. Alright, let's throttle down a bit. Lovely. There is our monstrosity actually flying. I'll be damned. Look at that. I honestly didn't expect that. But we are, in fact, working, which is always a good thing. And let's actually throttle this thing up while I talk and finish out the episode. Hopefully, maybe we can get this engine started before we leave. I don't know if we can, though, because we'd have to get up to a very quick pace before we could start it up and it'd make a difference. But as you can see, a very good engine on this particular one back here, the hybrid scramjet. It's very, very nice, very good. We've got the fun crew cabin, the fun cockpit. Again, 7 lovely command pods at the moment, 2 different engines, the structural engine housing, and also the crew cabin. A lot of great parts, and in the future, they are hoping to make 2.5 meter tanks, more aerodynamic stuff and structural things, more command pods, which, I mean, God's sakes, we've already got 7. How many more could they make? And even the potential of possible wings. So who knows, we could have some really cool stuff in the future. So definitely, if you'd like to give this thing a try, take a look at the link in the description, and I would say to keep an eye on it, because I cannot wait to see what other parts they make for this in the future. But for now, that is really going to be it for this episode, so let's see if we can get this engine going now. I think they're going to flame out, and if they do, oh well, we'll still just end the episode here, and if not, we'll go faster. Let's see in 3, 2, 1. Nope, they flamed out. I knew it. I knew we wouldn't be fast enough yet. But if you could get the engine, or the plane rather, going quicker, perhaps you could. Perhaps you're a better pilot than me. In fact, you probably are a better pilot than me. Give it a try. Have fun with it. And, of course, I hope you have enjoyed this episode today and that you do come back for the next. But until then, thank you for watching. And as always, have a good one, my friends. Now away to the island. Oh, wow, this thing actually handles better than I expected it would. Huh. I seem to have accidentally made a half-decent plane. I'll be darned, look at that. All right, later, folks.